Welcome to Life Talk with Mariette. I am Mariette. This show is about the life lessons that shape us, what I've learned, what I'm still learning, and how we grow through challenge, awareness, and purpose. I will share personal insights to motivate and inspire you, and sometimes invite guests who do the same. At its heart, Life Talk is about real stories, real growth, and meaningful connection. This is Life Talk with Mariette. Motivational, inspirational, full of heart. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to Life Talk with Mariette. I'm your host, Mariette Kammerer. Myth, male, reflections from the real world. That's our topic today. What individuals and business owners once believed and what life kindly corrected. In this special edition of Myth, Male, we invited both individuals and business owners to share the myth they once believed, the small untruths, the cultural hand-me-downs, and the personal rules that didn't quite hold up in real life. What came back to us was honest, funny, and sometimes deeply revealing. From morning routines to customer service, from relationships to running a business, each person discovered a moment when reality gently or not so gently rewrote the story. These reflections remind us that growth isn't about being right, it's about being awake. Whether you're brewing coffee for one or leading a team of 20, truth always has a way of showing up, usually disguised as experience. Joining me today is my friend and Life Talk contributor, Robert Adamo. Good evening, Robert. How are you?
Very good, Marietta. Thank you for having me.
Great. Nice to have you here. So, let's just really get started. Let's get started. You're tuned into Life Talk with Mariette. I am Mariette. I'm your host. And Myth, Male, Reflections from the Real World is the topic today. We all move through life with certain ideas about how things should be, how people behave, how business works, how success or happiness are supposed to look. Often we repeat what we've seen, not what we've examined. We act from habit, not awareness. Yet every now and then an experience, a customer, or a quiet moment makes us pause and rethink. That's when the myth cracks and truth slips in. So we're getting started right now. We have interviewed Eleanor from Milford, and she's saying, I can't start yoga until I'm flexible. Well, I was very perplexed when I even heard that. Robert, what do you say to something like that?
Well, you have to start, otherwise you're never going to get flexible. Whether it's yoga or anything else, if you continue to put barriers in the way, and even though they may seem like legitimate reasons, at the end of the day, it's an excuse not to get started. And if you really
Exactly.
want to get started, you're just going to jump right in, whether you're flexible or not.
That's right, because it's
And
like saying you can't shower until you're clean. Yoga creates flexibility. Yoga
yeah,
creates flexibility in
yep.
your body and your excuses. You got it. 10 points.
Thank
Robert,
you.
10 points. All right, I'm making note. Okay, Theo, he's 29. I talked to him the other day, and he's a data analyst. He's an aspiring monk. Hmm. Uh, the calmer I act, the calmer I am, he said.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all he said. He's an aspiring monk.
It sounds very, very monkish. Absolutely.
I wonder how this Theo is in real life. You just don't know when you talk to people just for a short period of time. We talk for maybe 5 or 8 minutes, something like that, because you
Mhm.
can't sit like a statue and still have a riot going on inside. Peace isn't posture, it's practice. And this is what you were saying in one of our other shows with Dr. Chris, when we talked about blood pressure. And you said
Right.
that you were very calm, but you said inside all kinds of things could go on. So,
Absolutely. Hmm.
and right, so we're on the same page. So what we're saying is outside you might be totally calm, but inside the blood pressure could still be up 200, and it's up to you to really reduce the blood pressure by your
Right.
thoughts. So very,
E-
very,
e-
we got to,
exactly.
yeah, we got to do another show with Dr. Chris. She's coming in November. She's coming back from Europe, so
Okay.
we'll pick up that
Yeah,
topic.
but whether it's sometimes it's blood pressure, but a lot of times for a lot of people, it's anxiety. Their stomach is in knots. They're walking into a board meeting or into an interview or into meeting a blind date or whatever it may be. On the outside, sure, they're seeming calm, but on the inside, their stomach is a mess because they don't know how to process and handle the anxiety of whatever it is they're going into. So people definitely need to learn how to calm themselves through breathing techniques and visualization and basically be able to calm those nerves and calm the the inner parts, whether it's an anger or sadness inside that's raising a blood pressure or it's a nervous thing inside. But what I've learned or I kind of figured out a long time ago is as children, our parents just let us crawl around. So we learned how to use our arms and our legs. We figured out the mouth right away. Feeding is the first thing every animal knows instinctually, but everything after that is a taught behavior. And if we weren't taught to stand up, we would crawl around for our whole lives, but we're taught to stand up, and then the next thing we're taught by 3 years old is how to hold our bladder and our go to the bathroom, and that's an interior muscle that we're being trained, but then it stops. Nobody teaches us how to breathe properly because we just think everybody knows how to breathe. The
Mhm,
truth is, no, deep breathing techniques and breathing a certain way and holding your body posture in a certain way and all these little things that nobody ever tells us about how to digest our food properly. People think, well, but you just digest. But the truth is our mind controls all those chemicals that are in our body. And when we consciously do deep breathing, we feel better. When we
mhm,
consciously say, okay, I'm going to stop eating this plate of huge food because I'm full or I'm starting to feel a little full,
mhm,
that's, again, an internal thing that our brain is telling us. And people often wonder, well, how do people get overweight and why do they eat so much? Don't they get full after, 3 plates of food? But there's a trigger in the brain that regulates that. And if you've trained yourself to ignore that trigger and just when we grew up here in America, at least, it was you couldn't leave the table until you cleaned your plate. And, how dare you not eat and have every last drop of food on the plate. And that might have been fine when you were at home and there was just one scoop of food for each category and there was maybe 500 or 600 calories. But we've trained whole generations of people to clean their plate, clean their plate, clean their plate. And then you go out to a restaurant and they load up your plate with 2,000 calories worth of food because they're trying to give you the best deal in town. Meanwhile, you don't know you're full until the plate is clear. And now you're eating 4, 6, 8,000 calories a day and wonder why we have a nation that you want to talk about a myth and a reality. The myth is that America is this great, healthy country and it's great to prosper, but we are one of the sickest countries in the world.
Mhm.
We have one of the highest obesity rates, the highest childhood illness rates, the highest everything rates. And it comes down to what we eat, to what we put into our body.
Right. I
And
just made a note.
so,
Sorry to interrupt you.
yeah.
I just made a note. So when Dr. Chris comes back,
Oh, absolutely.
bre-
That'd be another
breathing
great
and
topic.
posture, right? Breathing and
Hmm.
posture, food digestion, mind control. I feel
Oh,
we need to hear this over and over again because
oh, absolutely.
you can't just do it. It's almost like you have to create this environment for people
Mm,
to come to, because
mm-hmm.
otherwise it will not it will not penetrate you. You just won't accept it. It's amazing
Correct.
what this aspiring monk uh
In his
what
so few words, he said so much. Absolutely.
exactly. Let's move on to Rosie in Newtown.
Sure.
She's saying healthy food means flavorless food.
No.
Healthy food means flavorless food. Now she has no idea. She is totally
Mm,
clueless. Yeah,
right.
she's really, I mean, just by a statement like that, totally clueless. Probably only has
Mm.
salt and pepper in her cabinet.
Well, that's what I was going to say. She was never exposed to other spices
Exactly.
and things. And that again comes from childhood, you know, bringing up kids to eat more than just chicken nuggets and French fries and
Right.
stuff. You got to expand kids' palates early and teach them, all different kinds of foods. When I was young, one day I woke up thinking, well, we eat bacon and eggs every morning for breakfast. What do they eat in China or in, this country or that country? Do they have chickens and bacon and eggs there too? And of course, eggs is a staple all around the world. But aside from that, everybody does a lot of dishes differently. And recently I've been watching a lot of videos about Japan and how their food there is what between their food keeping them fairly healthy and the fact they walk everywhere and that keeps them pretty healthy and they have like the longest living people in the world because they basically don't have processed foods. Everything is fresh and organic and real food that came out of the ground or the ocean or the air and they walk, that's what
Right.
it's as simple as that. What you
Right.
put in is what you get out.
Exactly. So I would tell Rosie, if your salad tastes like sadness, it's not the kale's fault. It's your
Right.
creativity's day off. Did you hear
Right.
me, Rosie from Newtown? I'll repeat it. If your salad tastes like sadness, it's not the kale's fault. It's your creativity's day off. There you go. Rosie, you got
Right.
off the hook very gently. Very gently, Rosie, I have to tell you.
Mhm.
We're nice people here at Life Talk. Anyway,
Absolutely.
moving on. Grant, he's 52 years old, former overachiever. I don't know why he put his age down, but 52. No, no, he said that's true. You can tell, you can say, if I slow down, I fall behind, he said. If I slow down, I will fall behind. Now, let me just start with this. Uh, Self-employed people, people that have just started a business, and you're trying to connect with customers. You're trying to work, getting people through the door. You know, you don't have time to go and go on vacation or take weekend trips or do all kinds of things. You can't. There
Right.
has to be a certain format where the beginning of your it may take 3 to 5 years when you're climbing in your business where you can't do
Hmm.
anything. So yes, I've had that feeling too that I would fall behind,
Hmm.
and I said that in one of the another show that I was in Europe and I was so close to Italy, to France, and I didn't take the time off. I was afraid to fall behind because if
Right.
you're gone for 2 weeks, it really takes 4 to 6 weeks not to catch up. You can't catch up. You can never catch up, but just to get in the wheel again, to start the wheel
Hmm.
up again. So that's you can never catch up time ever, ever. So what do
Yep.
you say to that, a former overachiever?
Well, basically, you do have to still have balance in your life because otherwise you're running a business and doing a lot of these things is like running a marathon. If you do sprint all the time, you're going to get burnt out and you're not going to achieve your goals anyway. But taking too much time off, yes, unless the time is appropriate, it's a slow time of the season, it's the holidays or
Right.
whatnot, and
That's different.
then that's when you have to take your time, and that's pretty much what I do. Is I work 7 days a week, but when there's a holiday, I at least try to take that holiday off half a day and sometimes a full day. And if it's a big holiday, yeah, then I get to sleep in and catch up. But again, you can never catch up on sleep
No, that
either.
I was just going to say that.
But
That's impossible too.
but at
That's
least you get a little bit of extra
right.
rest on
That's
the
right.
down days. But
Right. Exactly.
rather than if I have 3 day weekend coming up and I had a choice to go skiing or go to the lake or go somewhere on vacation, so to say, or just sleep, I'd rather just sleep at this point because that's what I need the most. But sometimes people need to, get out and experience places. But again, it has to be done at the appropriate times and in moderation to not fall behind.
Sounds great. Let us go just for a quick break. Don't touch that dial. Don't touch any knobs. We'll be right back. You're tuned in to Life Talk with Marietta. I am Marietta, your host. In the studio with me tonight is our good friend and Life Talk contributor, Robert Adamo, and our topic is myth, male reflections from the real world. And we interviewed men and women, all different ages. And let's continue here with Vera from Fairfield. She's saying self-care is selfish. She believes it. Self-care is selfish. So, I say it's the oxygen mask of emotional health. That's what self care is all about. Ignore
Yeah.
it and you'll start gasping mid conversation. If you don't take care of yourself, you don't have the strength to take care of others. It's like the
Exactly.
oxygen mask up in the plane.
Hmm.
Yeah. You drop 10, 15,000 feet. We got an emergency on board. You got to do the mask first before you help your kids. But isn't it also natural to take care of the child right away because they need it first? So we think instead of us. I mean, it's a natural instinct too, Robert, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And that's why the stewardess has to tell us because they need us to fight that natural urge to take care of the kid first. But meanwhile, if the kid is flailing around and scared and not letting you put the mask on, you're depriving yourself of oxygen. And for every second that goes by, you're getting 1 second closer to passing out. And the kid doesn't know that. The kid doesn't is otherwise the kid would cooperate, and just let you put the mask on easily.
Mm-hmm.
But because kids are so unpredictable, it's you got to put your mask on because even if the kid passes out, you could put the mask on him then, and he'll come back. He'll resuscitate back because there's a time period in there that you don't just die. You just lack of oxygen for 3 seconds isn't going to kill you. So, but we have to put our own mask on and take care of ourselves first, whether it's the mask in an airplane or the proverbial mask of taking care of ourselves in life and getting enough sleep and rest and feeding ourselves properly. Yeah, we can't take care of others properly unless we take care of ourselves. And this is where when parents themselves are short on sleep and stressed out and doing things that don't give themselves self-care, that's when they lash out at the kids, lash out at the neighbors, lash out at their spouse, and then they wonder why everybody's upset at them, and then they get upset that everybody's upset at them.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
it's meanwhile it's because they didn't take care of themselves first, where had they been had the proper sleep and the proper nutrition and the proper state of mind and less stress, then as those situations happened, they wouldn't have escalated to a bad situation or to yelling at your kid in the store or whatever it might be, because you'd be better taking care of yourself, so you'd be able to handle the stress of the day easier. And with handling the stress of the day easier, it makes those problems be solved easier.
Right.
So it definitely has a trickle down effect, and people have to take care of themselves
But
first.
isn't it amazing what people really believe? It's just really, really interesting. And we always have people write into us, always. And it's just
Hmm.
how they formulate a sentence. I can tell you, I know how they think. It's just really amazing. It's like one of them said in one of the emails, how do I connect? Um, and it was a man. How do I connect at my age? And I couldn't believe it. He was in his 50s. I mean, he's been around for a while. A kid would even know that. And how can you even
Hmm.
ask questions like that? And then that's when you said, "Oh, Mariette, a lot of people because of blah blah blah, and you take it for granted, blah blah blah, because you're good in communication." How
Right.
helpless can somebody be? I
Well,
have very little understanding for that, especially if you're in good
uh,
health. You got to be able to think on your feet and not say at age 55 or 60, "How do I connect with the community?" What have you been doing all your
uh,
life? You know
well,
how to talk, you know how to walk, and I mean, please, if they're
well,
asking
but
these questions at age 60, I mean, just think what their
yeah.
life must have been like,
Well,
probably.
and that
You
is
know?
one way to, yeah, that's definitely one way to look at it. But again,
Mm.
people have lived in a bubble. Maybe, if they worked for one company for a long time and they were
That's what
very
you said. I
comfortable
remember that.
there, and right,
Yeah,
they
but come
just knew
on.
those five people and they
You know what,
really never went out
Robert?
anywhere.
You know what that reminds me? Reminds of really, really a loner, and those people, they like to be pursued. It's not across the board what I'm saying is, but if you have to ask that question at 8, how do I connect? How do I connect?
Uh,
Oh, don't you do
uh,
fitness? Don't you walk? Don't you have a dog or
uh,
a cat that you can take for a walk? No, I know
well, not
I'm being a
everybody
little
does.
I'm a
Right.
little
But,
flippant about it, but you know
right.
what? Those are the people, they may start something once or twice and then they say, "Oh well, that's it." So they don't
Uh,
pursue. You got to pursue life. You got to
uh,
pursue interests and not
uh,
do it once or twice and then just put it aside.
absolutely. And
They can't do that.
yeah, I think one of the difficulties is in today's society, people have been so disconnected because of the advent of social media and people more living their lives in a sense online. You're not in that generation so much, so you still have some of those old school values of, you go, if you want to meet somebody, you go out on the street and you shake somebody's hand and say, "Hi, I'm Marietta, nice to meet you." But
Yeah,
people these days, they they've been hiding behind screens for 10 years or more, and they've lost the ability to connect with people one on one. And the flip side of that is, when you do go out and try to meet somebody, because everybody else is in their own little clamshell, you get rejected all the time. There's
right.
women are posting their bios online like, "Where are all the good men? Where's this? Where's?" It's like, we all left because everybody went crazy. Okay, so what do you mean?
Yeah,
We're sitting over in the corner because everybody told us don't talk to them. You look at somebody the wrong way, and then
yeah,
don't talk to me. Why are you looking at me? And
right,
so both sides of this equation are to blame, not just one side
right,
where the person who's stuck in the corner is asking, how do I get out of the corner? He
right,
was put in the corner in a lot of cases,
right.
he or she, so
But here it comes. The next question, Sienna from Bridgeport. She's under the impression technology connects us. That's really, really not true because it introduces us only. And there you go. There you go.
well, it's all depends on how you leverage it. For the last 10 or 15 years, I've run my business from around the country and around the world, and I'm connected with those people all through, technology basically, not in person. So it's all how you leverage it. But again, if you don't know how to leverage social media to meet people or to introduce yourself, then you're going to have a very tough time. And again, in some situations, when you go to message somebody, they take offense to it, or they block you or something. And then after two or three blocks, that negative feedback then makes you stop reaching out to people.
Hmm.
And so there's been a lot of negative feedback over the last 5, 10, 20 years in multiple directions. So people that would normally be outgoing and maybe strike up a conversation or mention, oh, hey, I saw your interest is this artist in, on Facebook or something. People would connect that way, but they don't anymore because they keep getting negative signals back from other people, and that then just makes everybody kind of just close up and stay in their own
Right.
little place, and then everybody gets lonely, and then everybody wonders why everybody's lonely.
I have two
So
more questions that I'd like to present before we go for another break.
sure.
Caleb, he's a retired teacher, he says, or he believes aging means becoming invisible. And that's very, very sad. That is so sad. That whole sentence is so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Aging means becoming invisible.
Yeah.
Well, he was invisible all his life. Why would he even say something like that? Or
Mhm.
maybe he was real busy his life and he just don't know
Right.
what his other half of when he's
Mm-hmm.
retired looks like. It could be
Uh,
he could be speaking out of fear. Out of fear.
mm-hmm.
I can see that too.
Absolutely. Or again, maybe he was attractive when he was younger, and all the girls came to him, and even the guys, and people just were attracted to his personality. But maybe something's happened in the last 5, 10, 15 years. And now when he walks into a room, people don't flock to him the way that they used to. I know, my sister, she can walk into a room and everybody turns around and wants to talk to her and everything. But, in another 20 years, that might not be the case, So I think over time things do change like that, but it's hard to know some people's perspectives. But especially if again you were in the workforce and you were in the public and you always saw people, and then all of a sudden you retire and now you're home and you just wake up every day and watch The Price is Right, if that is still on at 9 o'clock in the morning or whatever. But you just watch TV and then you wake up one day and realize I haven't talked to anybody in 5 years. I haven't seen anybody. Then you become lonely, and that definitely can take a toll. But you got to get out there and again really connect with the community, volunteer at a local shelter or a
Oh,
local,
come on board with
you
us.
know,
We love to
right.
have you as a retired teacher.
Sure.
We love to have you
Uh,
and be part of the show because I'm sure you have a
Absolutely.
lot of wisdom because you can't stop making noise. I make a
Right.
lot of
Well,
noise, and I'm not
well, now
retired.
that you mentioned, yeah, retired
Mm-hmm.
teacher, so he was always in front of a classroom, was
Mm-hmm.
always commanding people's attention, and now if he doesn't have that, then it makes sense. There's no 30 people in front of him to teach and to interact with, and so
That's
I
why
could
he has to come on
definitely.
board with us. We got the million viewers and listeners.
Gotcha.
So
Okay, absolutely.
there you go.
There you go.
There you
And
go. Okay, teacher Caleb, we solved your problem.
yeah,
100 points.
next.
Next. Okay. We have enough time. Uh, T, he did not give his name. He refused to sign his real name, but that's fine with us. If it's his belief is, if it's meant to be, it will find me. I will say, bless you, T, with that attitude, with that mindset. And
Well,
what do you say?
I'm
What do you say?
I live by a certain same philosophy. If it's meant to be, it'll be. If it's not, it won't. And I've just learned through my life, if I try to push for something too hard, or if I try to do something that in a sense is not the right timing, then it doesn't work out anyway. And I expend a lot of energy and effort and don't get the results that I want. So I've kind of learned to accept things as they come to me, accept where I am in life. When I was a teenager, I knew one day I would have my own business, but I figured about 25, 26, that was a good age. But at 16 years old, what are the odds that you're going to be able to predict something in the future 10 years away
Mhm.
down to the month when you don't even know what business it is you're going to be in? And for me, the reason I didn't know what business I was going to be in is because it didn't even exist at the time.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you have to, for me at least, I've had to wait for technology to catch up
Hmm.
to my dreams, and you can't force something like that. I couldn't make the internet come around in 1992 instead of 1997 or 98. So I had to wait till 97, 98. But as soon as I saw the
Right.
internet, I jumped on it. But by then
Right.
I was 30. But I didn't tell myself at 26, oh, I haven't started my business yet. That's it. My life is over, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. No, it's just,
I
it
got to go
hasn't
for
come
break,
yet.
Robert,
Of
because
course.
here's the thing. This is my opinion. This guy
Hmm.
is in his comfort zone with the blinds down. Because take this guy T, and he's in front of a high-powered sales executive where they have to
Hmm.
make sales every single month. And the guy has an interview and he says, "If it's meant to be, it will find me." Just think about that.
Well, it's not
I'm
necessarily the right thing to say in an interview, but yeah.
Well, but it also tells you that he wants to be pursued instead of pursuing. So I've pursued all my life.
Right.
I can't even do it any other way. I can't sit back and say, okay, let it find me. I'd be an old woman.
Right.
So,
Well,
but
everybody's got their thing.
no, I
Hmm.
know that. So there are movers and there are shakers.
Hmm.
That's what I'm saying. And he's not shaking anything. So
Right.
because he's saying it will find me. Well, also to you, T, bless you and thank you for allowing us to, to talk to you and everything. And I'm going for a break. We'll be right back. And we're back. I'm Mariette Kammerer with Robert Adamo, our good Life Talk contributor and friend. Thank you, Robert, for being with us tonight on this great topic, myth mail, a reflection from the real world. And it's amazing the different beliefs people have. And I talked to about 11 people, men and women, and they were so kind to really give me some thoughts, various thoughts on just various topics, because how else would we know, you know?
Hmm.
And so I want to skip fast forward just a little bit. And if we have enough time, then I can jump a little back and forth. So let's go over to the business side, the
Hmm.
business myth mail from the front line of service and community. Carmen, she is an owner of a cafe in Milford, and she's saying customers only come for the coffee. Hey, Carmen, they come for how you make them feel before the cup even touches the table, Carmen. Is this your first time? What did you do before, Carmen? Were you in customer service before? What kind of job did you have? So customers only come for coffee. No, especially, let's say, if it's a smaller cafe, if it's a more intimate situation, they come from you. Now, if you go to Starbucks or the other place, which I love, Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, they really don't care. They say menu one, two, three, you pay and you sit. They don't care. There's very little interaction. But in these smaller cafes, in these smaller towns, they know the owner. The owner knows his or her customers, and what they like and what they don't like. So Robert, what's your take on this?
Well, from a business standpoint, if she's only selling coffee, whether they're coming in for her and the coffee or not, if they're only walking out with coffee, that's what she sees. And as a business owner, she's just seeing the bottom line, and she has to find something else that they're interested in with the coffee. And she's got to try different things. She's got to maybe
Um,
give give away little
yeah,
pieces of dessert or cookies or
I wasn't
coffee
even
cake.
thinking about that. I was just zeroing in on what she believes. In other words, there's a deep disconnect with when somebody says customers only come for the coffee, whether she has other things
But if she's
to sell or
throwing
not.
away trays of food at the end of every day
Well, that's because of
because
her
no,
attitude. That's right, because
well,
I'm talking about the disconnect. There is a disconnect here, Robert. That's what I want to zero in on. When you make a statement like that, customers only come for the coffee. Of course they come for the coffee, but they also come because for many other reasons. They like your place, it's an intimate place. And I'm not talking about the bigger coffee shops where it did
no, I
more
know, but it's
commercial.
specifically to her.
Mhm.
What I hear as a business owner, and especially one that has been helping grocery stores and restaurants do business, it sounds like at the end of the day, her coffee pot is empty, but there's 20 pastries left over, and she started with 22. And because nobody's buying the pastries, and they only come for the coffee. They come because it's on the way. They're not driving out of their way for their coffee. Sure, it's on their way. They like Carmen, whatever. But as a business owner, I hear her complaining that she's having trouble upselling other
Mhm.
pieces, other parts of her business because the coffee's really just supposed to be to get the person to come in. It's supposed to be the leader, but uh, to me the biggest problem is prices have gotten so high on things. People can't spend $5, $8, $9 on a croissant or whatever. They're just going to bring that from home, but they're
Mhm.
not going to bring the coffee from home. But they're bringing their snacks, and so that's why they're not buying other things.
Right.
So to me, a business that faces that kind of problem, they have to one start giving away a certain amount of food to get people's taste buds and say, hey, I like that apple fritter or that whatever, and I'm
Right.
going to spend the money on it next time. So sometimes you got to give stuff away to get people to try it. And two, you might not be able to make very much profit on the baked goods as before because prices are so high, but it's better than throwing it away at the end of the day. and then it'll build up. And again, as people get used to it, then you can bump up the price 50 cents here, a dollar there,
Yeah.
and people will reach
Yeah.
into their pocket. But
Yeah. We only got a tiny little bit from her. And of course, we're both in business. We're opening up the whole archive, which I don't even want to do,
hmm
but you're totally right. But
hmm
I still say she has a big disconnect, because it is when you walk in, and especially if it's in a small, intimate cafe, it people people are attracted to the atmosphere, whether it's positive or negative, and how they feel spending time in there. There are people in Starbucks. I never go to Starbucks because I don't like the coffee, but people somehow like I've met clients in there.
hmm
It was okay, but it's like a more sterile atmosphere. Nobody bothers you there. You buy and you sit and you can sit for hours and maybe sit till the next day. What do I know? So same
Yeah,
with
most
Dunkin'.
people use it to so they get
Right,
their free Wi-Fi
right.
and can do their work and check
Yeah.
their email while they have their
But these
coffee.
small
So,
little cafes or restaurants, people go there because of the atmosphere and how they feel and how the owner makes them feel or the help makes them feel, everybody. So people don't talk about it. So we don't want to manage your business. And normally we do that,
Mhm.
but in this case, I don't want to. So
Right.
but you're right. It can
hmm
be looked at from all different angles. So that's fine.
hmm
Okay. Start looking at the customers, dear Carmen. That's what I say. Okay. Robert here, your cousin, financial
hmm
advisor from Fairfield. Community involvement doesn't impact the bottom line. That's what he said. Community involvement doesn't impact the bottom line.
Well, I would say that's a myth because the reality is if you get involved and you do it right, it will positively impact the bottom line as well as create good relations for future projects and stuff. And you can't just look at things in just a one-dimensional, oh, I did this event this weekend and I didn't make $1 million, therefore the whole thing doesn't work. That's not how life or business works. You have to put effort in to continually be part of that community and continually be in front of people. And then down the line, as projects come up and deals come up and things, then you'll be at the top of mind for people. And then you can get the business or you can get the interaction that you're looking for. And then it'll start to pay dividends. But it's a long game. It's not a short game.
Yeah. Well, the community involvement is the most authentic marketing you will ever do. And I tell you, it varies from region to region,
hmm
people's mindsets, business owner mindsets. And in some more sophisticated areas, and what I mean by that, financially well-to-do regions, business owners adapted very, very quickly. And
hmm
they get involved when little Johnny comes in and wants them to be a sponsor for their game and whatnot.
Right.
They understand cause marketing. Now
hmm
you sent that same little boy to another region, and they look at you like you're speaking a different language. I have personally experienced that.
Right.
I just don't want to get into it too deep, but we have that any
hmm
place in the world.
Right.
Any place in the
hmm
world. This is not just to one region. It's the
Right.
mindset. You have to adapt to the people that live there, whether they're
Yep.
millionaires, ordinary people. But it's amazing how the business owners, there should be a cultivation, mental cultivation taking place.
Right. hmm
And I leave it at that. So
hmm
let's go to Alex. He was a really nice guy. He has an auto repair place in Bridgeport. Customer service ends when they pay the bill. That's when it begins.
Yeah, that's not a good attitude.
It's not is yeah, yeah, because a follow-up calls turn into transaction and into relationships. We have to build
Hmm.
relationships, just like we're building relationships with you, our viewer, our listeners. We're building
Hmm.
relationships. You see us the way we are, and more, the more you tune in, the more you like us and everything. You see what we're bringing to the table. You know.
Hmm.
So let's go to Melissa, the wellness studio. Competition is a threat. I've heard that a lot of people think that way.
Well,
Competition is a threat.
in most business situations it is, but depending on the business situation, there are ways that you can turn that threat into an ally. And so it's really up to the business owners to figure out how to partner with other businesses and which ones can help them grow and are,
Collaboration, great.
yeah, absolutely. And this, when the TV and the radios and all that stuff was first invented back in the 30s and 40s or whenever it was, everybody was fighting for the technology. But a little company, I believe it was RCA, rather than fighting all the patents and fighting everybody, they just told all the manufacturers, we'll make all the parts, we'll put your name on it, and basically lease you the technology under your own name, and we'll just stay in the background. And so rather than become fighting everybody for market space, they became everybody's supplier. So they flipped the script on the whole, competition is an enemy type of thing by making their competition their customers. So that was a pretty smart move. And it all depends on the situation, but you definitely have to, identify a competition, but also work within what you can to basically partner with those who can benefit your business and not just be a straight competitor.
I remember I even feel the competition, that feeling back when I was in the finance business. And
Hmm.
when we meet all kinds of people. And as soon as they found out that you were in the finance business too, their guards went up.
Oh,
And
of
that
course.
it's not necessary. It's the
Hmm.
same with everything in any profession. A doctor meeting another doctor. With
Hmm.
any profession, you go through this, but it doesn't have
Hmm.
to be. I don't look at
No.
somebody as a competition. I really don't.
Right. Right.
Anyway, we have to go for break. Let's go for a break right now, and then we finish up our show. So don't touch that dial. Where we still have more to talk about. We're back from our break. I'm Mariette Kammerer. We're in our last segment of myth, mail, reflection from the real world. Robert Adamo is in the studio with me tonight, and we have another 15, 20 minutes. So we're going to tell you, we're going to go through everything, I hope. Anyway, James, an owner of a hardware store in Stratford, said people only shop local when prices are low. Do they really?
Mm. Well, I think they shop local when they have to. If they can get to a Walmart or a big box store, and if they're doing a big project, then they know they can save hundreds of dollars by shopping at a big box store, then they're gonna go travel to that store. And unfortunately, the small mom and pop store gets left behind, but they get the business when the person does a smaller purchase or they're in a rush and they can't get to the big box store, or wait for Amazon to deliver their much needed product or whatnot. But this is part of the difficulties, businesses are facing these days is people's, when they're tight on the wallet, then they make these decisions to either just withhold and not do certain projects, or they have to go and find the best deals on things. So they may skip their local hardware store or small mom and pop store, and then it's a trickle down effect that affects those businesses, which then brings everything down. And so it is hard to it's a tough
Mhm.
situation to deal with for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if I need nails because I want to hang some pictures, I'm not driving 4 miles to go to Walmart and walk through
Of
the store
course
to get
not.
nails.
No, but
Uh,
if
right.
right. But if there's a big project where you're buying lumber
Of
and
course. Of course.
all this stuff, and you knew that the price was going to be, hundreds of dollars less, or even 50 or $60, it's worth the 4 mile drive.
Right. So I have three more questions and we're almost out of time.
Okay.
Let's Gina, she's a real estate broker from Orange, and she says a reputation is built by results. What do you think?
100%. You got to show results in order to get the next client to do, business with you if you're that kind of service oriented business. Um, and people look online these days for reviews. So whether a restaurant or a doctor or other professions, if your business is out there on different platforms like Yelp or Google My Business, and your reviews aren't good, people aren't going to do business with you. I know some people that, they find a product and then the first thing they do, even before they look at the price, is they look at the reviews. Does this have 4.5 stars or 5 stars? I personally, because I'm in the business, I understand that a lot of times a lot of positive reviews don't get posted because people are just happy with their product. They go about their life and they don't have time to tell how great it was or that it worked to their satisfaction. And so a lot of times the reviews are only to upset people. And so it can kind of skew the results sometimes because you're not hearing from the positive people. You're only hearing about the bad things.
Right.
But it is, a way that people judge what's going on. And it's the same thing when people go to your website. If they find you online and they go to a website, the first thing they do after they go to a website, if there's the ability, they go look at companies' social media profiles, their Twitter, their Facebook, their Instagram, to see, are people complaining about them, or are they reactive to people's messages, or are they
Mhm.
posting social media. And so businesses don't realize, but social media is used as that that review area, and or to see, is the company doing what they claim to do, and are people happy with their
Here's
performance.
how I feel. Thank you, Robert. Here's how I feel.
Hmm. Sure.
Especially in sales, a real estate broker, I want to see how you treat the people when things don't
Hmm.
go perfectly. And a lot
Yep.
of people don't have the full picture together. You got to be from A through Z. You got to
Yep.
manage it mentally. And a lot of people don't have it mentally. I'm sorry to tell you. So,
Hmm.
um, with real estate, 500 different puzzle pieces have to, in sequence, have to line up. So
Hmm.
you got to be able to analyze. You have to have mentally the whole picture in your head, and a lot of people don't do that. They don't have it. They don't have it.
Right.
Is years of experience, and then I want to see how you treat people. A person who doesn't have that experience, because it,
Hmm.
it never goes perfectly. And I'm not talking
Right.
about, oh, they want the stove replaced or a light bulb or a fixture or a railing. I'm not talking about that's easy. I'm sorry,
Right.
I'm getting excited. Not at you, Robert.
Hmm.
I'm just getting excited
Right.
because it's a difficult journey. Nothing will ever go smooth, whether it's with the mortgage, underwriting the mortgage, doing this, doing that, and the other. So you really have to have somebody that treats
Hmm.
the people right and somebody who has the experience, years of experience.
Yep.
Look how many finance people, and I'm talking about the insurance and investment people, they don't have
Hmm.
banking knowledge.
Right.
Many people don't even know the banking system and how it all connects with the credit scores and how to clean up credit scores
Right.
because oh, that's not what we sell. This is not how we make our money. I don't care how you make your money. You have to have
Hmm.
that knowledge. You have to
Hmm.
present that whole pie and each slice because insurance and investments, insurance is very important for protection. Investment is all wonderful when everything is wonderful in your life, but
Hmm.
not everything is wonderful in your life. You will have adversity too. You got to
Hmm.
know the stuff in other words, each slice of the pie and what if and so forth.
Yep.
And I'm very happy to say I have that knowledge.
Hmm.
30 over 30 years now. I have that knowledge. So it's not just about selling you a life insurance policy, very, very important for your family or for
Right.
your business to cover. Everything is very important. Yeah.
Hmm.
But you have to be able to talk about the whole thing. You have to be able to talk. Only an independent broker could do that, not somebody
Yep.
who's that goes without saying. But this is what I want to see today. If I was still in the business, I've spent 18 years as a finance broker. Um, it's important to have all that knowledge to help people when they're experiencing little hiccups, and then
Hmm.
other things happen when they lose their job and everything.
Right.
That is a life coach with solid foundation. That's what we
Hmm.
need. Okay,
Hmm.
I had to say that. I'm sorry. So one more. Let me just go one more. Here, this is a good one. James. No, that was the hardware guy. Oh, here's Carlos, landscaping company in Shelton. Business is business, he says. Carlos says. So, oh, really, Carlos? Business is business. So, I wanted to get a little more, very distance as well. Business is business. In other words, he sounds to me like this is what I'm giving you, this is what I'm presenting, take it or leave it. That kind of attitude. That's what I got
Yep.
from him. So more
Hmm.
I couldn't, I didn't have a chance to talk to him further. So what do you think of business is business?
Well, a lot of people have that attitude for a few different reasons, and sometimes it's warranted, but sometimes it's not because, sometimes you do have to look at things at a personal level and take things in as a whole. But, when it comes to, when the credit card companies lend you money and they expect their payment on the 20th, business is business. They don't care if you were sick the week before or, the client didn't pay or whatever. They want to get paid. And if they don't get paid, you get the late fee. And you might be able to waive that one time a year or something. But other than that, business is business and they want their money and they want their payment and they don't really, care about the extenuating circumstances. So,
Oh,
you
well.
know, he's taking a hard stance, but that's how some people see things.
That's right, and we won't be able to change it. Anyway, we're out of time.
No.
So, what we learned today that these stories remind us of anything. It's that myth aren't mistakes; they're just starting points. Each one of the shows easily. Wait a minute, I misspoke. Each one shows how easily we live by assumptions until life offers a clearer view. Whether it's a business owner realizing service begins after the sale, or someone learning peace comes from acceptance, not perfection, Truth always arrives with timing, not warning. So thank you, Robert, for today. Thank you for being in the studio with us. If you have ideas for us, want to share experiences or be on the show with us, just contact us. You see it right on the screen, our contact. Till next time, I'm Mariette Kammerer, and be well. And thank you, Robert.
You're welcome, and thank you, audience. Everybody take care.
Okay, bye-bye.